exhibition marks 20 years since the publishing of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Yeah, it really makes me feel old too. I went there with my mum. We both love reading. We always recommend each other books. We lend each other books that we like. And I've always been a big reader and she's always encouraged me. And of course Harry Potter was a major part of my life when I was little. And I think I got the first book for my birthday when I turned 8, and ever since I've been a massive fan. So it's kind of a trip to the past going to this exhibition, in a way. So I'm going to first talk about the exhibition itself in terms of what it looked like. Unfortunately, because you weren't allowed to film in there, I haven't got any footage from inside the exhibition, so I'm having to kind of describe it to you, but I'll do the best I can. I have also put a link to the Time Out review of the exhibition down below, so if you want to see a little bit of footage from inside, there isn't a lot of it, but there's a little bit. You can go and have a look at that. The exhibition really focused on the background to the books, so where all the ideas of J.K. Rowling come from and how sort of real myths and legends have fed into the Harry Potter series. So it was very refreshing to see a take on the books rather than the films, which are obviously a bit more prominent. And well, the exhibition was the British Library and it's called Harry Potter, A History of Magic. So it's a very accurate title, let's put it that way. So it literally looks at all the background stuff that has fed into the series. It also has illustrations by Jim Kay, who did a lot of the original British edition covers for the books. He's drawn portraits and sketches and stuff which are on display there, and it's got things like J.K. Rowling's early drafts of chapters and her own sketches actually, which was really interesting to see because of course the first book came out in 1997. These sketches are dated 1990, 1991, and they're drawn by her. And they're pictures of the characters. So it's interesting to see how that thought process has then come to life in the books and then eventually in the films as well. There were a lot of items that are available to the public for the first time, and quite a few of the items come from J.K. Rowling's own collection as well, so that was really cool. We went and saw the exhibition on a Friday at noon, and it was very busy. It wasn't too bad because you could kind of walk around. It wasn't like one long corridor and then you're stuck behind slow people and you can't get past or you can't get back to it. It was arranged into rooms quite conveniently, so you could kind of walk around and cut queues and then come back to it, and it was quite easy to do. The rooms were themed based on subjects that they would study at Hogwarts. So you had one room that was related to divination, one herbology room, you had charms, and each room would tell the background story of that particular subject. So all the background material that Rowling would have pulled information from, and how it kind of fits in with the whole story. So it would talk about where witches came from, what witchcraft is. In herbology room you'd have, books about plants and remedies and all these potions that they would create based on, the healing qualities of plants. Overall, I really liked the way it had been laid out. It was very well executed, it was very well thought out, all the content was relevant, but there wasn't too much of it. It took us about 2.5 hours to get around the entire exhibition, and that's with a little bit of queuing every now and then, but I think that's quite an accurate reflection of how long it would take if you look at everything and you read everything. Most of it is books and other sort of paper items like sketches, illustrations, drafts of book chapters, but you've also got some interactive materials, which is a bit of fun for kids, and audiovisual stuff. Things that I learned from this exhibition. I learned that mandrakes are actually real plants. So these are the plants that they have to pull out of the pot and they scream in Professor Sprout's class. Of course, they don't actually scream, but their roots do kind of resemble humans, so there were certain qualities they were thought to possess. I learned that Harry and Ron were originally not supposed to crash into the Whomping Willow in the Ford Anglia. They were supposed to crash into the lake, and this is evident from one of the early drafts of that particular scene that was on display. And I learned that Rubos, which is Hagrid's first name, actually means red. I knew that Albus, which is Dumbledore's first name, means white. And apparently these two, red and white, are really important colours in alchemy, which was a major theme running through the first book with the Philosopher's Stone. So this I thought was really fascinating. I didn't know this before. And this kind of brings me to what I really took away from going to see the exhibition, I suppose. So I never realised how much thought had gone into those books. Okay, that will sound really stupid because of course you have to think about what you're putting in the books, but let me just explain. So I have always admired writers like J.R. Tolkien, for example. I love Lord of the Rings because it's so detailed and there's so much going on in that world. You know, they published all sorts of things relating to the background of it. You know, there are even like guides on how to speak Elvish. He invented languages for this world. It's so real. And I never really saw somebody like Rowling being a person who would go into that sort of detail in terms of their creation. But I suppose it's just to do with the fact that Harry Potter is a lot newer and there hasn't really been time to publish all of this stuff. Like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, that's one extension of the books, and it contains material that Rowling had thought out but hadn't been able to include in the books. And this exhibition really pulls on those little details that you wouldn't notice if you read the books once. I mean, I have, and I'm sure loads of you guys have as well, read the books several times through, and there are still things that you don't notice because you focus a lot on the storyline. You might focus on a character. You don't notice what they put in this potion or this medicine that they create, or where this charm that they have comes from, or, you know, there are so many things. For example, the alchemy element of the Philosopher's Stone, of course they do talk about it, but the extent to which there is myth, you know, going on about this item and how much Rowling would have had to know. I kind of never thought of the significance of the number of 10-year-olds who are sitting at home waiting for their Hogwarts letter. Like, who didn't? I did. I'm sure there are loads of other people who did. And you can only achieve this by creating such a believable world as Rowling has. And I think that's just one of the reasons why these books are so successful. This is just something that I kind of took away from the exhibition. I suppose I kind of gained a bit more of a mature attitude towards the books. In a way, it opened my eyes to a lot of things that I'd never thought about before. If this now sounds like, oh, I really want to go and see that, but you haven't got a ticket. Unfortunately, at least online, it's sold out. It's worth still keeping an eye out for other things that are going on at the British Library, because based on the quality of that exhibition, I would definitely go again if there was another, theme that took my fancy. The tickets were only £8 for students. Adults was 16, my mum paid 16 for a ticket. If you enjoyed this review video, do click like and subscribe to the channel and let me know that you want to see more of these sorts of things. Bye for now.